Hi and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about the right word list for you and the right way for you to crack your password. So let's get started. So you might have the hash already stored, saved, or something like that. So on the screen, as you can see, we have a bunch of different hashes. In this particular example, they are all just MD5, which is of course going to be the wishing scenario. But in most occasions, passwords are not stored as an MD5 encryption, and sometimes people use salt as well, which should probably be used all the time. In the end of the video, I'm going to talk about what salt really is and what it's used for, and how we can actually get away with this. But is there a way to crack a password, and how do the pro hackers actually do that? Now, I'm going to talk about that right now. So we have a hash, and you want to crack that password. There are different kind of ways you can do that. Now, the very first way I would probably talk about to crack a password is to use something called brute force attack. A brute force attack is basically just where the hacker or the person who owns the actual hash is trying to guess a combination of letters and characters, numbers and special characters to find the right occurrence that will match the password. There's a few things the hacker needs to know in order for brute force attack to work. We need to know which algorithm the password is hashed with. Now, if we assume that it's just MD5 all the time, and it is really not that, let's say it's just SHA-256 for an example, then basically you can do all the iterations, all the brute forcing as you would like to with MD5, and it will never find the password. So you basically need to know the actual password. So having the string itself, the hashed password string itself, let's go back to the image one more time and take it one step back. How would you identify which kind of hash this is? Well, luckily for us, there are different kind of tools. Also a tool in Linux Kali called hash identifier, which is going to be on the screen right here. And as you can see, you can put in any hash you would like, and it's going to try and identify which hash it is. Hashes always have the same length. Now, talking about MD5, and I know it's not a secure hashing algorithm, but it's very easy to talk from. Always is 32 characters long. It is always hexadecimal numeric numbers and letters used, so A to F and 0 to 9. If you count all the strings on the screen right here, you will see that they are all 32 character long, which should probably give it away. This is probably a MD5 hash, so why not just try, a brute force, to go back to that, where you use the algorithm of a MD5. Now that is one way of brute forcing. The other way of brute forcing, more aligned with the picture below, I know I use the same picture for the same explanation, is that you actually try and just directly log in. Because if you take away the whole idea of you do not have the actual hash in your hand, you don't have it, well, then you can enter the clear text username and password, or maybe it is just password, depending on how and what system you're trying to get through or in. Well, it could be just a combination of, let's say, a locker or something like that. It's just a password. There's no usernames for lockers and small, security doors like that. It's a 6-pin or 5-pin. Then basically you can just try. And this is where brute force is mostly used and got its success in some way. Because if it's just 4 characters or 6 characters or 8 characters, brute forcing is really good because it's going to try a lot of different combinations really fast, and it's going to guess it and get through. So another thing you could do is do something called a dictionary attack. Now, what separates a dictionary attack from a brute force attack is that the dictionary attack is a set of already written passwords in a list. And that list is used to iterate through different kind of login iterations, or a cracking iteration. If it's just a login iteration, we go back to the same picture as before and say instead of guessing, we just supply with a most common used list of passwords, and we're just gonna try those and see if we get lucky, right? If we are doing a dictionary attack on a hash, it basically means that we have the hash, we also know the algorithm that is crucial for this to work, and we're gonna then try the different kind of most commonly used passwords we can find. For example, for web or Wi-Fi, you can find different kind of password lists. Now I'm going to show you how to find these on Google. I also found a few of the links I'm going to showcase to you just in the end of the video. Another typical attack is called credential stuffing attack. And basically a credential stuffing attack is a list of already known compromised credentials like username and a password. Most common in these days, that's an email and some sort of password. This type of attack don't need the actual hash to be with the hacker. We just need the compromised passwords, credentials, username and password, and we just stuff it in. And you can do that by either, singular ourselves. That'd be quite slow because if the breach, let's assume it is a breach of a common database, let's just make something up right now. Let's say 5% of the Facebook passwords and usernames, credentials were leaked in some way. We could probably try and use those to log into Facebook, but you're gonna think like this. How many people reuse the same email? Well, most do. I guess I do it, but many do that. You don't create an email address for every single logon you have. That would be incredibly difficult to manage. Then the second question is, how many people reuse the same password and the email for other logins? I don't know the exact percentage to the answer of that, but many do. And just because of that, you can have a successful credential stuffing attack just using the actual leaked, compromised credentials that you got your hands on, and then you could actually just hire a botnet or you can make it your own, and then basically send a lot of logging requests from different IP addresses. So the server might say, well, I do get a lot of requests, but they're from different IP addresses, might be an attack, but you will see which one will work or not, and you get access to these kind of services pretty fast. Another very typical attack is called a rainbow table attack. It is a type of attack that is commonly used when you know the hash, you also know the lengths of the password, then you can go ahead and download a file. They are in all occasions all from 10 gigabytes to a few terabytes, so really large files containing every occurrence of a particular password within the range of, let's say, alphanumeric 12 characters, every password you can think of. But you need to download the correct rainbow table with the typical hashing algorithm used to hash the password. Else again, it will never work. So, talking about salt again. Now, what is that? Salt is when you put an extra small thing to the password. So you have the password, and for simplicity's sake, let's just use MD5. So you take the MD5 hash string, and in the database you generate some sort of extra thing you add on, and then you rehash it, or you add it on and compare it, and different kind of ways to do these kind of things, right? Well, the algorithm you use in the programming language, it's gonna tell you how to do salted passwords. So if you're using PHP, C#, Java, and so on, there are different kind of implementations you have to follow. It's quite simple, most of it, but it kind of tell that, well, if I do have the hash, let's assume this MD5 hash, let's say I have that, and I do not have the salt, which is an extra part of, well, the password we need in order to be verified, or to decrypt the hash, or crack the hash, whatever I call it, right? Well, you cannot do that. You need the extra part. So basically what I'm saying is, if you don't have the extra part, you do not have the salt, you can do all the credential stuffing attacks. You can do, well, credential stuffing will probably work because, and this is where we're gonna divide and stuff. So which of these kind of ways of hacking will be eliminated if you don't have this solved? Brute forcing from a list on a directly login on a login page will always work, because this is when we do not have the hash. When we have the hash and we try and crack the password from a system using either brute force or dictionary attack, when we have the hash, not when we are logging directly in. That's a thing you need to understand. There's a difference, the barrier. When we have the hash and we try and do rainbow table attack, we cannot have successful stuff going on. If you're just trying to log in and you're trying to put in the password and username in an online website, you can use the following: brute force, dictionary attacks, credential stuffing, and rainbow table is only for when you have the hash offline. So, talking about these kind of different things, you probably think, it's quite important that I pick the correct word list. Well, it is. Commonly and mostly used is the dictionary attack, because it is easy enough to find a file containing lots of commonly used passwords, and those lists are actually updated. Now, I found a list right here. It is called Weak Pass. It is probably gonna pop up on Google. You can go ahead and check out. There's a list here with different kind of big, all, medium, small, tiny. And if you go to tiny and just scroll down, the 62 pages of different kind of things. Ashley Madison, PA, PHP, BB, HoneyNet, different kind of things, you know. And what you're gonna think about here is, well, which of those are good for me? So you could scroll to page number 2 and say like, Ragnarok Online 2003 Tech and Science. That's very interesting. This is whatever, something like that. RockU 60 Inside Pro Mini super common passwords, and you can click that and see a sample of them, and the sample itself will look like that. And then you can also get the masks, and those masks you're gonna use for that, probably for Hashcat, because when you're using Hashcat, you can go ahead and execute a command that use that kind of mask, as you can see on the screen as an example of Hashcat, and that is the actual mask you will put in, and it's gonna generate different kind of, you know, passwords depending on the letters, which means different kind of things, and that is something to look up in order to understand these kind of things. So another page could also be Hashkiller, which is also used to generate or to download the list from Weak Password. Hashkiller is a bit more, you know, I would say less intuitive, but it kind of also got different kind of things here, like Hashcat GUI and the Hashcat and dictionary and so on. If you go into like the hash cracker, you see different kind of things. And if you want to try and, let's say, do NTML, then you're going to put in the hash and submit and search. So there's an actual online cracking thing here going on as well. And depending on what you want to do, let's try and go one back. Look at this. It's a WPA2 right here, right? And also other algorithms are used. So you can go ahead and say, I want to try the one here on the very first page. I got like 104 gigabytes, weak 3A password. I'm gonna click it, and you see all different kind of things here going on. And if you download that list and you get your hands on, let's say, a 4-way handshake or something like that from a Wi-Fi connection, and you use that and you try and crack it using the aircrack tool or whatever kind of tool you're gonna use in order to crack the password, there's a quite big chance that this password you're trying to find is gonna be in the list. But you also need 104 gigabytes. And it does tell you that it's a 16 gigabyte, whatever this icon is, and it looks like a zip folder. I'm not really sure. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how you can find these kind of things on Google yourself at the end of the video, which you find now. So we're gonna say dictionary attack. I cannot spell. And if you do that, you can go ahead and find a lot about what is a dictionary attack. But if you want to find the password list, just go ahead and write word list and then comment, for example, and passwords. And you're gonna get loads of these GitHub repositories for 1,000 most common passwords. Like, what is that? You know, all these kind of things. Yeah, who use that, right? But you'd be surprised that many people use these kind of things here. You should scroll down a bit. You can see like, no one's gonna try and do purple, or this kind of thing is weird, and no one do these kind of things. People think that, but in all honesty, you know, they will be cracked. If you're using a common password, you're probably gonna get your password cracked at some point. Now, I want to say in the latest part of the video that I really enjoy making these videos, and I also enjoy showcasing new hardware to you guys, but I kind of need your support in order to continue to buy new things for the channel. At the moment, my channel is not making that much, you know, money from the YouTube ads that I do get. So I would really love if you would like to, you know, watch the commercials. Don't skip them. I know it's a big thing to ask, but you know, everything helps. If you really wish to help me directly, you know, there's a donation link below in the description where you can go and click it to PayPal. That would be anything donated to that will go to directly to buy whatever I would feel is interesting for my subscribers, you guys watching my material. And I know it's in the cybersecurity world, you know, everything will go to that. The next gadget I'm trying to gather money for is the Flipper Zero. I would really love to own my own Flipper Zero, but it's quite expensive here in Denmark, so I would say any help would be gratefully appreciated. And the best help you can do is just subscribe to my channel, watch some of my videos, watch the commercials. That would be more than enough. Okay, so see you again online. Have a really nice day. Hope you learned something from this video, and don't do anything illegal.